Welcome to When Marriage and Purpose
Collide,
the
the
podcast.
podcast.
This podcast is brought to you by Cree Speaks Life.
Hi, I'm DJ, co-host of this podcast.
Hi, I'm Lucretia, co-host, and I am also a speaker, author, and purpose journey coach. I am passionate about helping single women of faith rediscover their purpose before the husband and blossom in their marriage. Why, you ask? Because there is purpose to attain, life worth living, and work needing to be done before inviting your future husband in your life. So I decided to bring my husband along to share a man's perspective. Men need encouragement and empowerment too.
Hi, this is DJ, your other host. If you're trying to figure out how to date with purpose, maybe you're single, desiring marriage, in a pause season, or even engaged, this podcast is what you need.
Go sit back,
I actually
enjoy the
forgot we had a
combo
little intro
we have on a
that
daily
we
basis.
was doing.
Yeah, now
with,
onto
within
the
the
episode.
intro.
All right, y'all, welcome back
Hey,
to another episode. We back for another episode. Hey. Welcome back to another episode of When Marriage
and purpose.
Collide, the podcast.
Yep.
And we here, y'all. Y'all, it's about to be November, but it's still fall.
Your favorite month.
Yes, right? It's my favorite. My favorite month's about to come. My birthday's in November. We are just...
Birth month. You might as well say that because she celebrates the whole month.
I do celebrate the whole month. That's a thing that happens. And I think it should happen. Everybody should celebrate the whole month.
Just give me that one day. I'm good.
Yeah. But as you can see, y'all, we have another guest in the building.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. Like you are our second guest queen, our second guest ever to have on the podcast. I'm so excited. So excited that you're here. So yeah, so yes.
Me too.
Yeah, so we normally get started with a what we call it? Something interesting.
I was about to say,
I forgot.
what do you know? Oh, that's like, yeah, something interesting.
We call it something interesting because we don't have a title of it yet. And so yeah, something interesting.
It's
And
been
the-
about 2 seasons. We still don't.
No,
It's okay.
no, we ain't gonna figure this thing out.
Just roll with it.
Yeah, just roll with it. So one of the things I thought about was the traditions that we're building in our family. Like I remember before I got married, like I was like, I can't wait to build the traditions, like the stuff that I probably didn't get or that I want. And so when we have kids, we'll be able to do that as a family. And so some of the things that we've been doing, that every year, like I don't think we have the whole holidays planned out, but at least
I know the one that's real solid is the playing any Christmas music on Christmas Day, Christmas morning, to make sure everybody wake up. We do that
most
one.
definitely. Most definitely.
The one we starting though is the we have a little bonfire that we're trying to do it
Yes.
on the actual day of fall.
Yeah, fall. It was supposed to be on the first day of fall.
Yeah, but
it was like still hot. Like
yeah, it was like 98 degrees. I was like, we ain't about to start no fire.
We're not doing no bonfire.
Right.
So we decided not to do that. But I mean, we're gonna hold off. We're gonna still do
we
it.
try to do it this weekend, but they talking about some red flag warning where catch
I
fire.
saw a red flag
like
too.
Anyway.
So yeah, so one of the things the bonfire, and then also taking the kids to the pumpkin patch is one of the things we've been doing like since she was like 2, I think. We've been doing that.
Yeah.
Since our oldest has been 2. And then right now, I think for Christmas, we try to do like an outing. Something like that. But I think because the holidays are around, that's when we do it. But I don't know anything else that we've done or we have been building, unless you could think of something that we've been doing. We're trying to take pictures, but
she keep talking about these family photos.
We never take the
been
family
doing.
photos. So
the professional ones, the one where you go to Walmart and you got the little background.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
like
the
that.
fade out of your pet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We want one of them.
Oh my gosh.
So we want to see, Queen, you have any traditions that you do with your family?
Any family traditions?
Yeah.
Yep, we sure
What do y'all do?
So we are really big on family, me and my children.
Okay.
And so let's see what's a good one. So for Christmas, we do reindeer treats.
Ooh.
So the night before, we all have matching pajamas and we do hot cocoa and we make a huge pan of reindeer treats. So you can make it several different ways, but we use pretzels.
Okay.
with the white chocolate and melted and different color sprinkles.
Okay.
And we make a whole pan of it and put it in the fridge and
Mm-hmm.
put them in a bowl, and then they're in a cookie jar. So we kind of eat on that like through Christmas and New Year's. Like that's our little pickup snack.
Yeah.
So we do that. And we leave that now, even though we have discussed the
Mhm.
whole Santa issue. And
Okay.
I mean, you know, we're not going to rob kids of their imagination and
Right.
what brings them joy. So
Right.
even though they know
Mm-hmm.
that mommy is Santa,
Mm-hmm.
they still want to put out treats for me.
That's fine.
Listen. Just keep it coming, I guess. Just keep it
But you
going.
know, yeah, they're 9 and 11, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to steal their joy. The way kids are today, I would rather them still have that childlike humor,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and just the gaze in their eyes, opposed to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, exposing them to all of the cruelness of the world.
Oh my
So,
goodness, that's so
but that's
good.
what we do, and we've been doing it, gosh, forever. So I don't think that's something that we will ever stop doing,
Okay.
honestly.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, we do that, and we go outside in the freezing cold and take pictures in front of the house.
Wow.
Don't ask me why that started, but that started being a thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
So, but
cool.
yeah, we like to have a lot of fun around
Mhm.
the holidays,
Okay.
as together as family.
That is cool. I like the reindeer treat idea. We
Yeah, we
might
might
have
have
to
to
take
take
it. We
that
have to.
gingerbread house. That's what I want to do.
Mhm.
Oh, you want to do gingerbread house?
We
Yeah.
we tried the gingerbread house.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way you
It
said
didn't
try.
go well. Yeah, it didn't go well. We tried it, and it was like, it was there nice to look at, but we like to eat our crafts.
Okay.
So it was, we didn't
I
like the
like
way it
that.
tasted.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So they was
depends.
like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they was totally against the gingerbread house thing again.
Oh wait, I forgot. We was trying to do the Christmas lights. We started that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
been a rough
Mhm.
start. I'll tell you that now.
yeah. It's been a rough start. I don't know when we.
The first one we did was over at, was that Longview? Was that the
Oh, you
first
mean
one?
going to the Christmas lights?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We not.
Longview Lake has one, and we had to wait in line for like an
It was
hour.
like probably longer than that. Like we
It
waited
was
in
like
line
probably
for
an
Oh,
like
hour,
20
hour and a
minutes.
half.
wow.
Yeah.
And when you get there, it's only 15 minutes worth of lights to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't help that we was in this
Mhm.
beat down
Oh
Lexus
yeah.
that kept trying to die on us while we
Oh
was
my
in
gosh. So
line.
it was a nerve-wracking experience because you like if this car died when we trying to have fun
We over here.
and make it experience for the
Mhm.
kids. But anyway, so let's move on to why we here today, because I was so excited when I saw some of your posts on Facebook, Queen, and I was like, you know what? We started this podcast up the second season, and we need some face because people tired. I mean, not people might be tired of looking at us, but and hearing from us sometimes, be like, can we get some more different aspects and perspectives? I feel like people would love to see that.
Sure.
And because we could talk all day about
Mhm.
stuff. And I love
Mhm.
talking about relationships. We love talking about relationships. One reason why we started the podcast, of course. And so yes, when you made a post out, I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know hold on. You know what? You need to be on the podcast. So I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're able to share with your experience, what you've been doing. And so I'm going to go ahead and read her bio real quick for the people, because listen, when it's about to go down, she's got the credentials. All right. For the credentials. So I'm gonna read it, y'all. So Queen Ella Pringle is founder of Cornerstone Visionaries Consulting and Coaching, located in the Goose Creek, South Carolina, located in Greater Charleston area. Queen holds a master's in human services counseling with a focus on marriage and family, and a master's in marriage and family therapy with a license pending. She is a nationally certified family life educator, solution-focused coach, relationship coach, and a wedding officiant. Come on, saying I do to the folks. She is the mom of two amazing kids, Gabriella and Quincy, living the ultimate sports mom life 7 days a week. 7 days,
Also,
sports.
7 days.
thank you for your service.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah, you didn't see that she got Air Force in there too.
Yeah.
So thank you for your service.
Man,
Thank
that's
you.
so awesome. I'm just all the things. So you have a plethora, I'm sure, plethora of knowledge of all the clients that you've been seeing regarding marriage and family and getting singles to understand what it's like to be married. And I'm sure you coached marriages and folks who are trying to figure this thing out. So we thought you were the perfect person for this. So there's 3 questions we like to ask our guests. Our audience may know this as well, so I want to throw them out to you. So when we talk about this podcast and marriage and purpose colliding, what does it mean to you? Marriage and purpose colliding.
Oh, that is an awesome question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a dissector, so I'm going to dissect it both and then bring it all together.
Come on, dissect.
I feel like with our purpose, we have to know what it is about ourselves that drives us to purpose. Okay. So, we're all born predestined with a path ahead of us. That's what, the Bible tells us. We're all purposed with something. Now, oftentimes people don't take the time or don't want to do the work to find out their purpose. So, we go through life and we meet people and we have friendships and relationships, and we do this without truly knowing who we are, truly knowing the gifts that we operate in, and really knowing our challenges. So we just do things blindly. So, when we look at purpose is truly just taking that time, setting that time aside to get to know yourself, get to know your creator, and finding what it is that your life is called to do. Because then you can move purposefully into relationships, right?
Yeah.
So now that collides with marriage. If you don't do that, and I can raise my hand because I did not do that. So I can sing on that choir. If you don't do that, you find yourself in relationships that are truly not for you. Wow. And there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of challenges. That's where the Bible talks about being unequally yoked, right? So you're going in 2 very different directions.
Yeah.
So when marriage and purpose collide, it starts with one, knowing yourself.
Yeah.
And your partner, hopefully your partner will get to know themselves as well. And not everybody gets to that point, and that's okay. But that's a transparent discussion to have with yourself and with your partner. Say, before we say I do, let's work on us.
Wow.
Let's make sure that we know what we're getting into and that we can step into this fully transparent, everything on the table, and we're moving in the right direction. We're moving in the direction that we're both called to be. Now, you may not be called to the same thing, but at least you know your purpose. At least you know what you're working towards.
I like that. That's crucial. That's so good. That's so good. And that's what is needed. It's like, I like how you said you can, with your partner, talk about it. Like sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know how to bring this up. I don't know if they bring it up. Bring the discussion of purpose of working on both of you, on yourselves individually and together. So that was good. That was good. Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Go ahead.
Right. When I talk to people about things like that, I always go back to being naked and unashamed.
Yeah.
You and your partner should be able to have those being naked and unashamed conversations.
Like that. Ooh, we're gonna have to hold. Stay up. We're gonna have to come back to that. I like that. I like what you just said right there. So
that's always the biggest thing.
Hold that thought.
That shame is like the biggest thing when it comes to that. Like, if you don't handle it at first, or at least talk about it, try to get it out the way, I mean, there ain't no healing in there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm gonna go with the second question. What compelled you to join this conversation and this platform?
Well, I have definitely enjoyed. I've listened to a few of your podcasts, and I know the mission over the last season, and it's so funny and weird to think that we've been out of college for 15 years.
Oh my gosh!
I know
it's crazy.
It's a mess.
It's crazy.
But just really trying to stay plugged in with your peers, to see what everyone is doing. And so I really enjoyed, watching Lucretia and seeing you guys get married and have
Yeah.
babies, and I'm watching in the background because I'm like, yay! And I think I've probably even reached out to you. It was like, hey, I'm a lactation consultant. If you're breastfeeding, like
I
call
think I
me
remember that.
anytime.
Remember
But
that. Yeah.
a lot of people is like, that's weird. I'm like, no, because I'm the one that I like to break that stigma in our African American community when it
Sure.
comes to breastfeeding. So
Yeah.
anytime I see anybody on my Facebook page that's pregnant, I'm reaching out to them. Here's my number. You call me. Put
Yeah.
that baby on your. Let's do it, right? And so when you reached out and was like, "Hey, do you want to be in a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah,
So
let's
awesome.
do it."
Yeah. Yes, I am so glad you said yes. I'm so glad I mean, I would be concerned if I did get a no from somebody. Like, no, I don't want. Like, why you don't want me? But
Hey.
I'm so glad.
Right.
All right. So the next question is, what are your thoughts surrounding the current state of singles and dating nowadays? Yeah, I was just gonna leave it there because I was gonna say something and I might tell your thoughts. But go ahead.
Say la, child. Say
Say
la.
la.
The dating scene, the dating scene for singles is it's not good right now. It's not. Going back to, my previous statement, a lot of people don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And people have a tendency to leave one relationship, go immediately right into the next one without healing any type of heartbreak, trauma, mental, emotional challenges. Like they don't take into account how those things spill over into your next relationship.
Yeah.
And so, as those things are compounded and it's going and going, and it's just really creating a pool of people that are hurt. It really is.
Wow.
And so when they're no longer in relationships and they're single, they come to meet people with that hurt on the forefront. So they come with their guard up. They're not really transparent in who they are and what they're looking for, and so it really just it puts a awkward space in dating. And I've talked to just even quite a few women, and dating on different levels, like even dating for those that are higher in their careers, is challenging. So all of these layers that are in the single community has to be shed. It has to be broken down. And so it's really not a healthy space right now. But there's been over the last year and a half, 2 years, there's been such a uprise on mental health and everyone going out to go to counseling and coaching and mentorship and all of these great things. So my hope, because I have hope in this world, my hope is that they're really doing the work and really doing the self-reflection and making significant changes, so that way they can, one, have a better relationship with themselves, and then have better relationships with their significant others and their families and colleagues, because it's all truly about having healthy relationships. But it starts with the self.
And that's so big when you said the hurt, because I think there's such a broad range of hurt that people gotten healed on one specific area, but then there's other areas that they was like, well, I'm healed, I'm good, but no, you're not really. Like, you didn't handle the childhood trauma stuff, or you didn't handle, you might have handled the breakup, but you still got family stuff that you forgiveness and things that haven't been handled right. So I think that is some of the things where potentially, or we think that, okay, you got healed over your last relationship. And so they think that that's the thing, like, okay, I'm healed over him or her. I'm good. We can move on, but there's other things. So I like how you brought that up. And I didn't really trip off of like that, where it's a lot of hurt. Yeah, it's a lot of, and I think a lot of people are fearful of getting into relationships, one, and then also they don't know how to trust because of all of that stuff. And so, so it's like, why am I'm just going to just play around. Like, why I got to be committed? Why do I have to, so that's key. I like how you brought that on. So thank you so much for answering our 3 questions, but I want to get into some of the things that you do and how you've been working with folks in your consulting and really with the couples and things. So one of the questions I have or we came up with is some of the what common themes do you see when it comes to either the couples that are in counseling, maybe married or maybe they're getting married, but what are some things that you are noticing that could be potential red flags, or maybe something that you're like, okay, this is what people need to really work on right now? Like, you got the audience, you got the folks who are listening right now. What is it? What's happening?
Learning. So, it's cliche to say, we have to communicate. Communication is
Sure.
key. Okay, we know that because you and I are having a dialogue, therefore we're communicating. We get that.
Right.
Knowing how to communicate is what's challenging for a lot of people today. Okay. So learning how to communicate, meaning one, being emotionally intelligent about yourself. So that way, you know exactly one, how you're feeling in that moment, knowing how you can slow down your response,
Okay.
knowing that your response is coming from a place of value and not from a place of fear, right? Listening effectively, listening intently, and not listening, quote unquote, listening to respond, but truly listening to understand. Listening to understand. And finally, learning how to respond to each other in a way that is healthy for the relationship, And those are really the three key things that I see.
Wow.
And when it boils down to it, we just were never taught how to communicate.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were never taught about healthy relationships. We've seen arguing, fighting, fussing, somebody in our neighborhood probably getting mad at their boyfriend and throwing clothes out the window. Like, those are the things that we witnessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, as we saw those things and we grew up and never had a conversation that challenged that in our minds, that has never been challenged, we're saying, okay, well, this is how we're supposed to go about this. So if I'm having a disagreement with my significant other and it's getting escalated, I've only seen it go higher and higher. Who's going to have the last word? The person with the last word wins. I've never seen, okay, sweetheart, this is getting into a heated discussion. Wow. Let's just take 5 minutes. Let's cool off and let's get back together, okay? Wow. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
But it's not the norm. It's not what we were taught.
Yeah. So
it goes back to those foundations. Oh, I'm sorry. It goes back to those foundations of learning how to communicate.
So that's the question then. Like, how, if you get someone, a couple that's been, that are struggling with communication and they're on the wits end of things, and they probably, like you said, haven't been taught, how then do you get them to work that out, like in a healthy way, and and I'm sure they're on the brink of like a divorce, or maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe we should separate, but how do you get build that with them to where they are able to be on one accord again?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
Each couple is different. Okay. There's some that you have to finesse a little bit more because, we're not used to coming into spaces where we're having to air our dirty laundry to talk about our business, right? Because as a culture, we've been taught what goes in my house stays in my house.
Sure.
What goes on here stays here. We don't go talk about our business. So, depending on the couple, we may have to build a little bit more of a relationship where they can see that, hey, I'm a trusted person. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to put you in your place. Sure. I'm not here to tell you that you're right or wrong. I'm here to help give you tools to help enhance your relationship, to increase the vitality of your relationship. Yeah. Okay. And then we have some couples that, like you said, that are really at their wits' end, but once you get to your wits' end, it's like, it's either we're going to try everything or I'm just here because I need to check a box. So it just really depends, it just really depends on who comes through the door. But for me personally, because I am a family systems type person, my initial conversation starts with, what are the relationships that you saw growing up?
Okay.
You know, how are the relationship with your parents and your grandparents and aunts and uncles and whoever raised you? You know, what are those relationships like? Because if we've only seen the negative and never really taken into account the positives,
Yeah.
or if we didn't learn anything from our own previous relationships, then those are like, you know, if you have a jar of marbles, those are just marbles stacking up inside of the jar. And until we start to pluck those marbles out and really be curious about them and try to understand, why is this here? What is it that I can learn from this situation? Then we're just going to keep adding to it, which will cause, of course, relationship trauma.
Wow. That's, whew. I don't know. Go ahead. I didn't know if you had something to
Oh no,
before
well
I-
she already answered one of the questions I put down,
What was
which
it?
was basically, is there a great amount of individuals dealing with untreated trauma and
Okay.
dating? And the only reason I brought that up is because I remember during my dating days, I remember there was like, it seemed like I kept running into like people that had past traumas, either like abuse or something like sexual abuse, or it was always something to where, you know, normally people was like, oh man, she crazy, this and that. Well, it's like, no, it's
Something deeper.
there's something deeper there. It's just she doesn't have a healthy way to find like a relief for it or something like that. So instead of
Right.
trying to fix it, it's like they're just dating to see if that will put it away. Like, no, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. That doesn't work. And something you said, Lucretia, just a few minutes ago, you know, when people go to therapy, they tackle the first issue and then they close the door. Like you said, oh, I'm healed of this, that's it. But truly, when you're in the transformation space and you're really truly doing the work to heal, there's multiple doors that you have to walk through.
Yes.
Because if you're truly doing the work, it's going to unlock the door. So for instance, if someone was to go to counseling for trauma, right? And they're saying, oh, I'm having trust issues. Okay. And the person, the therapist or the coach or whoever they're working with gives them tools, help them work through their trust issues. And now they're on a path to being able to trust someone.
Right.
If they stop, then that stunts your growth. If you go the next step further, then you be curious of, why do I have these trust issues?
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of times it goes back to our childhood. It goes back to our childhood. And so that's why I bring up in our first session, you know, doing a genealogy. Let's talk about the relationship that you have with your mother.
I like that.
You know?
And that's what I think I had I didn't realize until after marriage that I wish I could have went back and done. It's because I've been in therapy for almost 2 years now. And so when she unlocked some stuff in me, I was like, man, I didn't even know, because, you know, you talked about communication and the communication piece. And I don't think I communicated well, you know, or I didn't know how, you know, like you said, we weren't taught until I started actually teaching communication. It was so funny. I taught students healthy relationships, like adult learners, talking about communication. I was like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is good. We're doing scenarios. We're doing role playing. I'm using, you know, the curriculum we got. And I'm like, this is technique. I wish I should have got this. And so I use basically a lot of the techniques that I've taught. And then when I got married, and then when we, you know, got together in relation, like we were able to work it out. But I wonder if I didn't have that, like where we would be, you know, kind of thing, because it was those tools and those resources that we need, you know, in our lives. So that's key. That's key. And then with the therapy, that's what I brought in therapy, is like she unlocked some stuff of the communication of how I needed to explain things to my parents or friendships and things like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was intersecting, you know, we're cool, we're good, but the friendships may be lacking, or your family relationships aren't up to par, or whatever might be going on. So that was good. That was good. But something you said, and I want you to go back to, is emotional intelligence. And for the people out there, I guess, what are some ways that they would know how emotionally intelligent they are? Like, how key is that? how to gauge it. Like if I want to be like, okay, I'm about to
Mhm.
meet with somebody, or I'm about to, start dating again, I want to know how they are, how I am. Like, how can we
Mhm.
find out, what that looks like for ourselves and what
Mhm.
the partner that they're dating could possibly be on that level. So yeah, I don't know if you could discuss
Sure.
that. Yeah.
Sure. So when you're looking into emotional intelligence, one, for yourself, there's a few things to look for. Look to see what be curious. Okay, it's all about curiosity, because you're learning about yourself and you're questioning, not in a bad way.
Thank you for tuning in to When Marriage and Purpose Collide, the podcast, with your hosts, DJ and Lucretia. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation and advice. If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch the latest, you can follow Lucretia M. Haley, that's Lucretia M. Haley, on Instagram, and subscribe to Cree Speaks Life on YouTube. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.